Hi guys, Bobby here. This is the facelift version of the Isuzu MU-X. The MU-X has been around for a little while, right? And it has always been the car that I would say most people wouldn't think of at first, but then when they go and test drive, they will realize that it is a very, very comfortable car, okay? And in terms of looks, some people like its inoffensive looks. Some people felt that it's not modern enough earlier on. But now they've massively updated the car. It has a new headlamp with daytime running lights and some really stylish stuff that, you know, goes on like that. And then it sort of gels into the grille. So that is the new styling up front. I'll go interior later because they have massively upgraded the interior, which is really, really good. Alright, the rims look good as well. They are new. They are 18-inch now. Everything is included. It's keyless entry now, and then it has plenty features that I will go through with you. The rear lamps are new as well. It looks good, LED, and the diffused LED type. You see, you don't see the little dots and all that. It is diffused, and then there's a roof spoiler. This shark fin antenna, it only comes with the 4x4 variant. Okay, if you buy the 4x2 variant, you get the remote control car antenna type, okay, the short ones, okay, the bee sting type instead of the shark fin type. Now it's very crowded inside there. Everybody is taking photos of the car. I'll get a finder. Oh my god, I have to queue up maybe. Let's look at the boot first. Oh, where do I open it? Okay, it's here. Now it doesn't come with powered boot, but there's good and bad about power boot, right? Because if you don't have a power boot, you can close it pretty fast and open it up pretty fast as well. It's very swift, and there's no power boot maintenance to worry about. Look at this part. With the rear seats up, you still have a little bit of storage available. This is where you can store things and you can put the tonneau cover in there. Very thoughtful, but somehow it just doesn't match the height of the sill. So you see there's like 1 step, 2 step, 3 step, but it's alright. Not too big of a hindrance because the roof to base height is enough. It's decent. Okay, I need to go in, but everybody is inside. There are some 12-volt charger ports here, some hooks around, and I really like how they mix and match the interior now. The interior is largely beige plastic. Okay, very high quality plastic. They are hard, but they're high quality stuffs. They are not the flimsy, scratchy type, or shall I say the X-Trail type. Okay, putting these up are pretty easy. Okay, they've flipped that one up, so this one is sort of stuck. But like I mentioned in my previous videos, right, the third row of the MU-X is totally habitable. Okay, and then you have your aircon vents up there. The second row has a LCD screen for entertainment, but that screen is only available in the 4x4 variant. The 4x4 variant is only 6,000 ringgit more than the 4x2 variant. So with 6,000 ringgit more, right, you get the screen, the shark fin antenna that I mentioned just now, and a HDMI input and a 1-inch larger screen. That's it. Okay, that's what buys you for the money. Leg room. No. Let me try and move myself to a position where you will be able to see my leg room. Now, of course, the second row is, yeah, it's decent. It's not super duper spacious, but it's also because the front seats are moved to the back. Those are not in the usual sitting position. They move it back so that they can take photos better. Now look at the interior. It is a totally different color scheme now. I like interiors that are like that. You know, you have grey, you have beige, you have a different mixture of materials to make the interior look not so boring. You have some metallized surfaces as well, and then a lot of compartments. This car has a lot of compartments. I will go to the front when I'm able to, but here's the screen that I mentioned, but it's only available in the 4x4 variant. These are some speaker systems that, I don't know, looks cool. Of course, when you watch movie, you want them to sound great, right? Let's go out. Look at the door panels. They are leather clad and some quilted designs. Yeah, these are real leathers. And this fake wood panel, right? This fake wood panel looks better than the ones in the Hondas. You know, the Honda Accord has those grey color fake wood panel that looks really bad. So, yeah, that's how it is. And then, inside here, you get this cup holder, this compartment, another compartment, And then you have this compartment as well, touchscreen over here. This one switches from 2-wheel drive to 4-wheel drive, cup holders over here, and then there's another compartment here. Very nice, very well thought. Okay, so that's the MU-X. The MU-X has always been a car that it doesn't appeal to you at first, but if you drive it, if you live with it for a while or take it home for a test drive or anything, just spend more time with it, right? You will find that it is very comfortable, it is reasonably spacious, and it is not very expensive compared to its segment competitors. Okay, and some people like how it looks, and then it has a very high ground clearance, so it is a family SUV, right, that you can really go off-road. You can go river wading, you can do all sorts of stuff with it. This is the MU-X. Okay, so yeah, that's the facelifted version. The engine maintains, and largely what has been improved are the things that attract buyers to the car. The safety systems are all standards as well. So be it you buy the 4x2 or 4x4, right, it has the same safety system, same safety standards. Yeah. So yeah, that's how the new MU-X is. I'll give you a better look up front. So yeah, it's a lot sharper now, right? The car looks a lot sharper, looks handsomer, and with the larger rims, the daytime running lights, it looks pretty modern now. Okay. Yep. So of course, a lot of people will compare it to the Fortuner. It's not as handsome as the Fortuner, but the Fortuner is not as comfortable as this either. Okay, both are leather frame SUVs, and both are pretty good. And of course, Isuzu is famous for what? Famous for fuel consumption, really hard wearing reliability. Yep. Alright, I guess that's about it until I drive the car.
Rugged, reliable, and hardy, the Isuzu MU-X ticks all the right boxes. But how does it fare when it's taken off-road? Paul Maric finds out. New engine offers plenty of torque and improves drivability. Capable off-road, despite lack of rear differential lock. Excellent value for money once you haggle beyond the RRP. Interior still doesn't feel up to scratch in comparison to the competitors. Infotainment still behind the competition. Engine can be quite noisy. A lot of people buy a big 4-wheel drive with 7 seats to carry kids, their friends' friends, and occasionally to tow a caravan. But, little do they know their big SUV is capable of going effectively anywhere straight out of the box. One of those big SUVs is the 2017 Isuzu MU-X, and we saddled up to see how well it would deal with being thrown in the deep end, literally. Recently, the benefactor of a facelift, the 2017 Isuzu MU-X, also received a heart transplant in the form of a Meteor engine. Now powering the MU-X range is a 4-cylinder, 3.0-liter turbocharged diesel that makes 130 kilowatts of power, same as before, but is now Euro 5 compliant and offers up 430 nanometers of torque, 50 nanometers more than previously. The big advantage with this engine revision is that it produces 380 nanometers of torque between 1700 and 3500 RPM, which is a wider rev band than offered by its predecessor. It also peaks at 430 nanometers between 2000 and 2200 RPM, making it a versatile band to work with. The engine is mated to a 6-speed automatic transmission, with a claimed combined fuel economy of 7.9 liters per 100 kilometers, along with a 3,000 kilograms brake towing capacity. While the MU-X range is available in both rear and all-wheel drive, we picked the mid-specification Isuzu MU-X LSU4X4 with an automatic transmission as our test vehicle. Priced from $52,400, plus on-road costs, the MU-X LSU is $1,300 more than before, but don't be too alarmed. Isuzu is already doing a drive-away offer, available until the end of 2017, that'll see you walk out the door with one for $48,990, which is over $4,000 off retail after on-road costs. This review will focus on the MU-X's off-road credentials, so if you want to know how it performs on-road, check out our review of the new MU-X range here. Offering 220 mm of ground clearance, the MU-X is capable of clearing most terrain you'll come across in day-to-day off-road driving. An approach angle of 24 degrees is backed by a departure angle of 25.1 degrees and a breakover angle of 19.5 degrees. These are fairly standard figures in this segment, with approach and departure respectively referring to the face angle of approach and departure respectively that you can attack before contacting the body. Likewise, the breakover angle is the maximum breakover angle of a hill you can travel over before contacting the undercarriage. In terms of four-wheel drive equipment, the MU-X is a very basic offering. On sealed surfaces it operates as a two-wheel drive sending torque only to the rear wheels. Flicking the dial to 4H mode activates the four-wheel drive system, which sends torque to all four wheels. It doesn't have a center or rear differential lock, which means it can't split torque to vary distribution when in four-wheel drive mode. Switching to 4L is the same as 4H, except it uses a low-range set of gears. The driver can switch between 2H and 4H at any speed up to 100 km per hour, while the move from 4H to 4L can only happen when stationary. Unlike some of its competitors in this segment, the MU-X doesn't feature a rear differential lock. Isuzu says that its inbuilt traction control systems manage wheel slip effectively enough, though. We put this theory to the test with a number of different terrain types, including a muddy climb out of water, which works a system like this aggressively due to the buildup of water on brake discs. The MU-X has three stability control modes. The first mode leaves everything on. In this mode any twitches of the rear, or sideways movement, cause the stability control to activate quite aggressively. If you have momentum climbing a hill or are moving through a mud bath, this can sometimes limit movement and cause you to get bogged down. While it's handy for on-road driving, we'd recommend switching to the first off setting if you're trying to move through a bog with pace. This mode disables stability control and traction control, allowing wheels to slip more freely, and it won't intervene if the car has a sideways moment. It doesn't completely disable the safety systems though, because it's a form of brake traction control that Isuzu uses to simulate a limited slip differential. Instead of splitting torque between wheels or axles, the brake traction control system will brake a wheel to prevent it spinning, which allows the vehicle to then send torque to the wheel, with greater traction. Surprisingly, the system works quite well. In this mode, it's a case of keeping the foot firmly planted to allow the car to gain momentum and move through the hole it's about to be otherwise stuck in. We tested this driving through a sloshy mud bath and on a climb out of a river crossing. It can be quite noisy while it operates, but we found it to be very effective. You can, of course, switch everything off, but in a car like this without any diff locks, it's a fruitless task. With 600 mm of wading depth on offer, we dropped the MU-X into a river crossing to see how it would cope with around 5 minutes of wading. As you'd expect, it was a fairly effortless exercise. The throttle remained responsive, and when we encountered deeper and softer areas, the throttle remained responsive enough to keep it moving along. As we climbed out of the water, the traction control system had to work overtime to prevent the wheels from slipping as they scrabbled for traction. This often catches four-wheel drives out as there's a mix of wet rubber and wet brakes. When we threw the MU-X at a hill descent, the lack of a proper electronic hill descent control was one of its shortcomings. Instead of a brake-operated hill descent, it uses a transmission shift mode that runs back through gears to limit movement. The automatic gearbox's gearing in first isn't quite short enough to keep it from running away. The problem is solved when you switch to low range in first or second gear on a descent. Unlike the Trailblazer and Everest, which both use an electrically assisted steering rack, the MU-X still uses a hydraulic steering rack that can be slightly heavy at times. It also offers up 3.84 turns lock-to-lock, which can be annoying when trying to move around objects off-road. Despite the Everest not feeling as rugged as older four-wheel drives, the quick steering ratio and light steering makes it easy to place off-road. Updates to the MU-X for the 2017 model year are welcome. Extra torque helps the MU-X get along, and its off-road credentials remain impressive despite missing out on a stack of four-wheel drive gear offered on its competitors. Proper underbody protection, plus decent ground clearance and weighting depth make the MU-X a great option for buyers who need the room of a four-wheel drive, but occasionally want to go off-road. It's worth checking out if this type of vehicle is up your alley. For peace of mind, it's worth test driving it back-to-back with the likes of the Mitsubishi Pajero Sport, which offers a lot more four-wheel drive equipment and a superior brake towing capacity, 3,100 kg v 3,000 kg.